So for this example, we are going to talk about nested loops. So most of the time when I use a nested loop, it's because I am working with a two-dimensional array. So it kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet with the rows and the columns. That's a little bit outside of the scope of this particular series. And so for this one, we are going to do some print statements using nested for loops. So we will do our first one. We are going to print out for loop to print out outer and inner, so we can kind of get an idea of what's happening. So we are going to do for, and we'll do I in range 3, and then we will do, and then I there's just a counter variable. We could use it for this example. We you know what, I'll put it in the print statement. So we will do print, and then we'll do a star, and we'll say outer, and then we'll print out the number as well, just so we have an idea of where we are in the loop. And then we'll do our inner loop to print out inner. And for that, we will do another for loop, and for this, we'll use the J for our counter variable in range, and we'll do 5. So our inner loop will run 5 times each time the outer loop cycles through. So our inner loop will end up running 15 times, 5 times 3. And then the outer loop will print out the word outer 3 times. So what we'll do here, print, and then we'll do spaces, then inner, and then we will also print out J, so we have an idea of where we are in the printing. So let's go ahead and run this. And so here you can see we have outer 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Arrays are, and coding in general is 0 based. And so that's why we're starting off at 0, because we didn't specify to start off at a different number. So you can see that we have our inner loops. Our inner loop ends up running 15 times total. The outer one runs those 3 times. So that's kind of what's happening, visual, what's happening with the inner and outer. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to print out the stars in kind of increasing numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll print out stars in increasing numbers. This is our classic way that we kind of visualize what's happening within nested looping. So we will do 4, and we'll say I in range, and we'll start with 1, and we will go to 6, and that way we'll get 5 to print out since the range is 0 based, but we'll just make this more human readable by starting off at 1. And so then we'll do our nested loop to do the printing. And so for this, we will do 4, we'll say J in range, and then our range, we will set it to I. So we'll set it to that outer variable, counter variable there. And then we'll do print, and then we'll do the star, and we'll do our comma. And we're going to set the end attribute, and we're going to set that equal to an empty string. So instead of having a new line after each asterisk, that way they'll be on the same line until we get out of that loop, and then we'll print out an empty line here. So or print a new line, really, is what that will do. And then, we'll do another print statement up here to separate out our other chunk of code. And now let's run this, and we should have a cool design after our inner and outer loop text there. Yep, there we go. So we have our original statement there that's doing the inner and outer. And then we have this example here, or maybe it's a little more visual. So we have our stars, and they go from 1 to, and so on. So that's a nice, hopefully, visual of what's happening with when we use our inner and outer loops without using a two-dimensional array. Thanks for watching.